Of all the places in Tuscany, I always migrate back to Volterra. It holds a special place in my heart. For a destination to take people to that is off the beaten path, yet central to a lot of places within Tuscany. On all the trips that I offer in Europe, I pretty much have the same goal, and that is to provide those who travel with me with a unique peek into the culture, the art, and the history of our destinations. In Volterra, I use a young lady named Annie Adair, and she has been a personal friend of mine for close, maybe 15 or more years now. So Annie is an American transplanted from Washington, D.C. She went there as a student and decided to live there, and is a fantastic guide. Is so very passionate about the town of Volterra and actually the entire area of Tuscany.
Taste all the new oils. You know, this is Tuscany's oldest continuously inhabited town. So history in a place like this really does tend to come alive. There's a considerable Etruscan influence on Rome as it starts to grow, and they're friendly neighbors until 396 BC. This is the year the Roman army starts their expansion northward. They hit the southernmost Etruscan city-state called Veii, and they annihilate it. They say there wasn't a thing or a person left of Veii. So meanwhile in Volterra, they are probably flanking their gods, they were the farthest city-state north, and preparing their defenses. So in the early 4th century BC, Volterra builds itself a 4.5-mile perimeter of walls around the city. But what I'm walking you down this hill to see is the one remaining gate we have from that 4th century BC Etruscan wall. And the Romans tell us they invented this arch in the early 3rd century BC, which is about a century after these walls were built. So did the Etruscans have a more primitive form of opening, and the Romans, after they'll eventually take control of Volterra around 260 BC, they added in their arches? Or are the arches original to the Etruscan structure? Well, recent studies would say they're original to the Etruscan structure, and what that means is these would be the oldest known fully rounded arches in the world. And we're now going to walk underneath them.
Annie Adair is the perfect guide for Tuscany.
Alabaster. We talk a lot about alabaster in Volterra because until they started to find alabaster in Spain in the early 1900s, Volterra had been Europe's only known constant source of white sculpture-grade alabaster over the course of its history. Georgio! Ciao! This is Georgio's master.
Georgio is going to make a bowl from this piece that they've already pre-formed, and this is how that many of the bowls on these shelves are taken care of and formed. All by hand, everyone. Personally, for me, I find it very difficult to find a wine in Italy that I don't like.
Ciao, buonasera. Ciao. Tutto bene? Sì.
Good evening to everybody. Hi. A very small group, so please, if If you have questions, ask me. It's much more fun if we talk.
I've met 3 sommeliers in Italy. 2 of them are good friends of mine. And so they have a specific way in which they say that you should, experience the wine.
The most important things is what the taste.
The way that we think of a lot is to smell the wine. But for most of the Italian sommeliers, they say smelling doesn't work so well because we humans have poor noses.
And usually, yes, you use the nose, but you use much more mouth. Also, human nose doesn't work. Really doesn't work. Is why I think that we have to help our nose try to understand the possibility of the smell before. And to do this, we have to use our eyes.
So we have good eyes, so we can look at the wine and talk about and think about the color and the viscosity of the wine.
When you see a wine like this, then at the beginning move fast, but stop to move really fast too. You see, it doesn't move for a very long time. Boom! Probably the body is important.
We had 4 different wines. We had a white wine from the village of San Gimignano, which was fantastic white wine. And then we had a Chianti Classico, a super Tuscan wine. Then we had Brunello, which was the last wine. And by far, with everyone who have tasted wine with me, the Brunello was the go-to wine for them. So I have a journal that I keep. I try to, when we go through Tuscany, devote 1 page to tasting wine tastings and what I enjoyed and what was good. So I try to take notes and learn something new all the time, add something to my my knowledge of that so I can pass it on to those who travel with me.
Be careful if you have a big nose.
Once you experience a wine tasting with Francesco there in Volterra, every time since that, everyone starts looking at the wine, dipping the glass, looking at the wine. What color is it? What do you think it is? What do you think it is? Everyone is more educated on tasting wine.
Bye.
Yeah.
I love to eat, and at home, Charlotte, my wife, calls me a European snob because nothing in the United States matches any dining experience than I ever can have here in Europe. Ristorante Enoteca Del Duca is my standard for dining in Europe. Genuino and Ivana, the owners of this restaurant, along with daughter Claudia, I've known since the time I've known the tour guide there, Annie and Francesco. I can't say enough about the Del Duca family and why they're very meaningful to my love for Tuscany and my experiences that I try to share with those who travel with me in Tuscany.
Nice to see you all. Hope you will enjoy the meal, and I'll be here around, and probably my father is coming later on because yesterday we finished with the Sangiovese harvest.
Okay.
So he's very busy in the wine cellar.
The liver pâté and the mousse of pecorino.
So this is special homemade pasta by the chef Ivana in here. She does it every day, rolls it out and cuts it by hand. And the cingale sauce is pappardelle paste and cingale sauce, wild boar sauce. Now, they do it differently than most places because they want you to have the full taste of the wild boar. Many places put in tomato sauce, but not here. We have the full flavor of wild boar. So, buon appetito. You need to experience having a meal with me on my tours because that is so very important for the entire travel experience, is to experience the cuisine of the area, the wine of the area, and the ambiance of the area. And that's what I think makes traveling with me so much different than anyone else. We've had a fantastic dining experience here tonight at Ristorante Del Duca in Volterra, my favorite go-to place in all of Europe, actually all the world. So we're finishing up with a chocolate cake. So your adventure starts here. with David McGuffin's Exploring Europe here in Volterra. With the chocolate cake. That is divine. Salute.